Hello there and welcome to MoCDA Talk Series. Listen to curator and gallerist Eleonora Brizi talking about her contributions to the making of the rarest book, a collection of all rare paper cards. Eleonora talks about the origin of the meme, the copyright issues, and the rise, fall, and return of Paper the Frog in the Eastern and Western communities. Eleonora is currently curating a crypto art exhibition about the Italian crypto art scene in cryptovoxels and is also launching a new project, Brizi Art Gallery. Enjoy the talk.
Oh, hey.
Hi.
Nice to see you. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, good.
Can you hear me well?
I can hear you. I can't see you so well. You're a little pixeled. But I can hear you well.
Let me see. Maybe I'm gonna switch to my 4G. Hold on.
Yeah, the video seems a little slow, but I can hear you well. Thank you for everyone that is here on the live. We're just connecting with Eleonora. Hey, yes, I can hear and see you so much better.
Can you see me better? Okay, great. Hi.
Yes, I can. Okay, so I was just thanking everyone for being here this afternoon. And also, if you do have questions as we go through, please make sure you just send them through in the comment. So, Eleonora, nice to see you. And I was saying that you're a good friend and also an amazing colleague. So I was always fascinated about your background and how you sort of went from Chinese contemporary art into blockchain. And yeah, tell us about your journey. How did that happen?
Yes, also I wanted to say something about my actual background, because during this quarantine, all Italian people who probably never read a book in their life, they always appear with like tons of books in their background. So I've done the same today. But this is just where I sit when I work. Anyways.
Does it mean you're reading all those books during the quarantine or not?
No, I'm not. I'm just like all these other Italian people. They're just there. Okay, so yeah.
It's a symbol of culture, isn't it?
Yeah, so much culture. Even when they have to speak about, I don't know, farming or anything else, they appear with the book. So I just wanted to stay in the trend of the quarantine. Anyways, yes. So thank you so much for having me, Serena. Me and Serena, we actually talk like almost every day because I am also a curator and MoCDA, so we work together a lot. So I study Chinese and Chinese culture, and I graduated in contemporary Chinese art. And somehow through my dissertation and people that I met, I ended up to move to China, Beijing, and work for the artist Ai Weiwei for many years. And so this is how I started my journey into the contemporary art world. So I was there for 4 years at the studio. And after him, I worked for a French curator whose name is Jérôme Sans, and he's the founder of the Palais de Tokyo in Paris. This is just to say that I was always on the side of, you know, like the artist. I was in an artist studio, and then with a curator, I was never on the other side of like gallerists, basically, or museums. So I was in China for many years. It was and it is my big passion. Because that's what I studied. So the problem came when I decided to move out of China, which didn't happen because I was bored or anything, because it was time to move and I wanted to have an experience on the other half of the planet. And so basically what happened is that now I already worked in the contemporary art world for 6-7 years, and now I had to make a decision because eventually I will have to continue this path. But I didn't want to do that because then, like, China was China, and it was what I studied for, and it's a very specific culture, and you know, it's still a developing country, so artists have specific things to say and to talk about. But then I really wanted to try to see how New York was, not because of the hype on New York, just for many other reasons. And so I found myself there, and then the contemporary art world is completely different, and I don't like it. I mean, I don't want to say that I don't like it. It's just it was never in my desires to be like to work in a gallery. I never wanted to. And so I was in a huge crisis because I was like, okay, this is my job, but I don't want to do this. So what am I going to do? But hopefully, you know, the speed of New York. It just took 2 weeks for me to enter into this magic world of the blockchain and art on the blockchain. So everything happened just by chance. I had my roommate who just brought me into this conference at the Arts Club in Manhattan, organized by a friend, Lev, and it was a conference about digital art on the blockchain. So when I went there, I didn't know what the blockchain was, maybe digital art, but didn't basically know anything. And that night, which is September, I believe it was the 15th or 14th of September, 2018, I met basically everyone. Like I met Dada girls, I met Lev, I met Louis, with who I did the Pepe book together with. Like everyone was there. You know, many people from
so which conference was this? Just to sort of have
which conference?
Mm-hmm. You said that you went to an event.
Yeah, it was at the National Arts Club in Manhattan, and it was just digital art on the blockchain. So there was Jessica Angel speaking. There was who is an artist who transit from physical art to, I mean, she still does physical art, but she does it on the blockchain. And there was Louis speaking about Louis Parker, who was speaking about Pepe, the project, the rare Pepe, that I will talk to you about later. And there was Dada was there, who you interviewed. So many people from the creative crypto community. So it was very specific. It wasn't something about the blockchain. It was something about art and the blockchain. So while I was listening to the conference, I was shocked because it's the first time that I hear about the blockchain, and basically like all these columns on which society is, you know, like founded, were just like scrambling down. Like no banks, no third man, no galleries, no lawyers, no anything. So I was just like, okay, I need to think about this. I need to digest. That's what I said. But then we had a dinner, and obviously when you have like human contact with like, you know, like when you are together with people, like it was explained to me from a very human point of view. And then I was sitting next to Louis during this dinner, and who brought like a little book with this Pepe guy, which is this little frog. And
we want to hear more about the Pepe project, by the way.
Yeah, this is how it was born. And so like he started to talk about this frog, and like I made a very like a simple question coming from, I don't know, like maybe from an art curator point of view, because they were talking about this rare Pepe and stuff, and I was like, do you have a book of this? Like, do you have something that I can check? Because obviously all the I mean, the whole project is online on the Rare Pepe directory. But then I just asked if there was a book or something, and it was like, no. And then I said, well, because I even couldn't find the courage to ask if they want to make a paper, you know, like something like in paper, because these blockchainers are so hardcore. And so I was like, well, why don't we make a book? Because so you have all, you know, the whole project like collected, and you can interface people from the artwork, because this Pepe project sounded so beautiful to me. But then we didn't have anything to present it to people, even not to me. And so Luz was like, yeah, let's do it. And then in 1 month it was printed.
Wow.
Which is here. Here it is.
Oh wow, you've got the book there. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So how long did it take you to actually collect? You said the book was born in a month, but how did you go about collecting and finding all the cards? Because it's over 1,700, I think I remember.
Yeah, 1,774. No, that was easy because I mean it was easy. It was like a huge amount of cards to be downloaded, but it was easy meaning that it was just all the cards were in this website, which is the Rare Pepe directory. You just have to collect them and to design the book. And we asked some questions to the people from the community. We wrote an introduction, we interviewed each other, so we had a point of view from someone from the art world and someone from like he also made some pepes. So I think that maybe we can explain for those who don't know what
yeah, if you don't mind to explain what the Pepe project is and why, you know, it is so iconic and sort of represents the very first project appeared on the blockchain.
Yeah, let me. Are we?
And also,
Is
Georg
my
is
video
asking,
okay? Because I have some people asking me when we're going live.
yes, and there's also Georg asking about how many books did you print?
Oh, okay. Because I cannot see anything here. Okay, so we printed. So the book was printed in a limited edition of 300.
Oh wow, only 300.
Yeah, and each book is itself tokenized on Counterparty, which is this sub asset, like on the Bitcoin blockchain. So yes, we printed this book, and we presented it at this conference that New Art Academy organized at NYU, and then we organized this little party where we presented the book and like all the people from the community came. So we were saying, what is Rare Pepe? So basically, so first of all, apparently it is the first project, like our project ever on the blockchain. This is why it's so meaningful as symbolic. Later, unfortunately, it got symbolic for other reasons, but we'll also explain this. Basically, the frog is just a little cartoon that this American artist designed. This American artist is Matt Fury. It was it was a cartoon, and people just liked it, and they they took it from paper into digital, and it became a very very famous meme. So in a while, like everyone was drawing these pepes, which is not rare pepe, it was just pepes. So a very spread meme. And then one guy one day drew a pepe, and he put the pepe on the blockchain. So he actually registered the asset of the image on the blockchain. And he just said, let me see if I can sell this, because once you put it on the blockchain, you actually create like a whole, like you create an economy for it, because now it comes with a cards token, and someone bought it. It's the same thing for, it's always about trust and consent. So the Bitcoin was born for a pizza, and Rare Pepe was born because someone was like, okay, let me spend some money for buying a digital image of a frog. And then they started, and the amazing thing was that no one took control of the project, but it was more of this directory where everyone can send these beautiful pepes. Like you have like Basquiat Pepe, you have Berlusconi Pepe, you have like Mona Lisa Pepe, you have all sorts of creations. And they created this group of scientists, like main scientists. So they weren't judging the beauty of the art. Just if you are, as long as you respect certain rules, all the cards were accepted, and this new economy started. And this guy made a card called the Pepe Cash, and it actually became the currency for the whole project. So still on the Bitcoin blockchain, but then this sub asset, I believe you call it like this. So on the Bitcoin blockchain, you can trade the cards with.
Okay, I have a question, and then we had a few questions that I will ask you in a moment. The Pepe that was registered on the blockchain, was that the very first design made by the cartoonist and or the animator, or was that a Pepe that was put on the blockchain by the person that drew it on the image of the original Pepe? Just to be clear on that.
So the Pepe designed by the designer is the only Pepe which is not on the blockchain, because that one has the copyright.
Okay,
so,
yeah,
no.
that's what I wondered.
So the first Pepe was the Nakamoto Pepe, Satoshi Nakamoto Pepe, which I have here. I believe it's yes. Oops. This Pepe.
Yes, that's the very famous one.
Yeah. And then something happened like few years ago, actually 2 years ago. So last year in New York, we organized a festival of rare digital art, which is called Rare Art Festival. And it was the second edition. But then 1 year earlier, I wasn't in New York yet. They organized the first rare art festival ever. And they organized an auction, and they sold the Hummer Pepe for almost like they sold it in Pepe cash, and the value was almost $40,000.
Wow.
So it got a very high hype.
Okay, so I will ask you some of the questions that we had coming through. So Georg is asking, how many books did you print? You said 300, right? Mm-hmm. And then Darcy's asking, how can I get this book?
Through me. Just text me. Yeah, we have a website, then it got shut down, and now we're doing another website. But I have copies here with me in Italy. All the rest is in New York, so you can just text me.
Fantastic. And then Chiara is asking, are you planning on issuing a second edition of the book?
Maybe not, because it's rare and it needs to stay rare. I mean, eventually our goal is that one day one of these will get to Mama. That's what we always say, because you will have to get there, because this is like an historic book. But it's too early now, so we keep it like down for now.
Okay, I see. And I think, being like 300 copies is actually really, really rare. So yes, anyone who wants to get hold of the book, I would suggest do it now. Yeah. We definitely want to keep one in the MoCDA collection. So
great. Yeah, and it's a collectible itself because it's tokenized.
Mm-hmm. And then Georg again is asking, what was the highest price for a Pepe? What was the highest price for a Pepe so far?
Well, I believe that the highest price was for the Hummer Pepe that they auctioned, $40,000. I think, but I am not sure. We'll have to ask the Pepe people. I was the curator who proposed the book, and probably I'll have to ask Luis. I don't know which one was the highest. I know that the Hummer Pepe is probably the highest one because it was auctioned.
Mm-hmm. I see. Did the book experience any issues with the alt-right associations of Pepe's images?
Okay, yes, that's a good question that I forgot to answer about. So, I didn't even know about this because I was in I was in China when during the first and last, we hope, Trump election time. So I was in China and I didn't hear about this somehow. But Pepe, yeah, it got very bad. So what happened was that the meme became associated with the alt-right, not the Rare Pepe project, which is a completely different thing. You have 1,774 rare pepes, and then the project was closed by the scientists because they thought that it's a good number and they want to keep it rare, so it was closed. But then you have the meme circulating of this Pepe guy, which is not rare Pepe, it's a different thing. And we all know that it got, yes, implied with this like alt-right, so Pepe's with swastika or like symbols of hate. and Pepe itself became a symbol of hate. It was so bad that Matt Fury drew a cartoon where Pepe died. He made him die because he couldn't take it anymore. It was like, I'm done with this. And so he ended the story with letting the frog die. We didn't experience issues with this, but I got shocked when I organized the first time that I organized this party, because like the rare Pepe community is the opposite. Pepe is this little like innocent, like feels good man community, and it's like a symbol of love and peace. It's like everyone is so
a complete different character.
Yeah. And so someone asked me, oh, you're organizing like a Pepe party, like is it like an alt-right party or something? I was like, what? And then I went through the whole story, but then we were proved right later, because what happened was amazing. So yes, we didn't experience issues because hopefully everyone from the rare Pepe community like really understood what was going on.
That's good. That's good that there was a strong community behind this.
Yeah, it's probably the best thing about the Rare Pepe project. It's the community. But I mean, you still have people asking, and also there was some issues when like you want to present some projects in the US and you have this Rare Pepe project, they probably don't let you present the project. Like you cannot speak about Pepe anymore because it's a symbol of hate. What happened was that a few months ago with the riots in Hong Kong, miraculously, we don't know how. It was not a few months ago. It was it started last summer, like in July or August. So this Pepe became symbol of freedom and love. So all the people in Hong Kong took the Pepe, again, not Rare Pepe, the project, the Pepe, the meme, and like they started to like go on the street with Pepe, like Pepe with like we banded eyes, so meaning that he doesn't want to see, or like because someone got someone got injured to their eyes by police, and so Pepe was supporting the protesters in Hong Kong. It was amazing, like Pepe graffiti, Pepe like dolls, people, and they even organized, because I am in contact with this Pepe Hong Kong organizer, and they even organized like a parade with Pepe, and this proved that a meme is a meme, and its meaning is the meaning that you give to the meme. So no, we are not. I am not all right. I'm not all right, and you can see that like depending on the meaning that you want to give to the frog, that's how it is. So now it became the symbol, Pepe, the symbol of freedom for real. So I think that now it's even more valuable, obviously, because it can like gather people.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's such a fascinating story. I didn't know about all these details, so thank you for sharing them. Was there ever an exhibition made around Pepe?
Well, when we did the show in Brooklyn at the Bush Regenerator, it was kind of a show. We had
Was that an auctioning that you did?
Yeah, that's the auction for Rare AF too. So we had few Pepes on show. Like we had some Pepes on a mural, digital canvas, when we had the event, and we showed some Pepes. The thing with Pepes is, I mean, you can do a show with Pepes. It's just that it's so the copyright situation is so delicate. Like we did a book with all the images. We didn't ask for permission. It was kind of like a service for the community, because everyone, you see, this is when you have a strong community behind. Like everyone from the Pepe community is so happy about the book because their works are inside, and I just, it's just a gift. So this is the spirit. But you never know. Like you cannot go around and organizing an art show with art pieces which are not. So it's better not to like, not T-shirts, not art shows. The book was more like a homage.
I see. although I think, you know, museums probably in like 10 or 20 years time, you know, will probably look into this and do an exhibition, I suppose, because it's such an iconic work. And it represents one of the very first project, if not the first project on the blockchain. So I do hope that the situation gets resolved with the copyright, and possibly smart contracts could support that.
I think, like, for me, it's already fine because so these pepes are like, they are all tokenized. So basically, if you organize a show, you're just helping for the pieces to get higher in value. Because I
Yeah,
cannot sell a
absolutely.
pepe. I mean, I can sell a pepe, but I'm just giving a favor. I'm doing a favor to you because I cannot get money because it's tokenized. So if someone goes on the directory and buys the pepe because they saw it at my show and they want to buy it, they're gonna buy it from the seller, not from me. So for me, there's already not a copyright issue, but it's very delicate though. It's very.
Mm-hmm. I see. Then I wanted to ask you, Eleonora, how you went from such an amazing experience that threw you into the blockchain and the digital art community into becoming, you know, a curator into this new space, you know, coming from
Yeah.
Chinese contemporary art into seeing you here in New York doing an auction of digital art. So I want to know how that felt for you in terms of how you developed that skill, and also how you felt as a curator moving into this space that it is in a way very little curated, you know. So how does it feel to be a curator in a digital art space?
Yeah, first of all, after you interview Jason Bailey and Gareth Bach, I don't want to be put in the same group of people. So maybe we can say like a student curator. That will make me feel better. Well, I think so. When I arrived in New York, and I obviously presented myself, like I was coming from the art world, and you know, you're a little bit of like the witch of this. She's like, she's coming, you know, like she's coming from them, you know, and and so I
Like
had
after
to
being
fight.
working with Ai Weiwei, everyone's like, oh.
No, that was fine because I was like, oh, okay. Well, but then, you know, like, you know, we don't want galleries, we don't want curators, we don't want anyone. We are peer to peer. We are on these platforms which are amazing, and I love them. And like, you know, with all this like hours and hours spent talking about new systems of monetization, which is very, I was into it very much as well. I went to all the conferences of the blockchain in New York, possibly like all of them. I was there, but this is why now I can speak, I think. So but then, like, over 1 year and a half that when I was living in New York, um, I have seen the community changing because like, in briefly, it doesn't work. So it doesn't work like this. It doesn't. You cannot create a real market like the one they are talking about, and we all want, without I don't know how you want to call it, like an intermediary. I don't, someone who translates. I believe that's what I was using in a podcast I talked to a few days ago, like to translate. So you still need expertise, which you shouldn't see as an awful thing as they saw at the beginning. It's like, if you want for this new kind of art, I mean, this is how we are forced to call it, if we really have to call it somehow. So like with digital art, this digital art doesn't have position in the art world. Yeah, like it doesn't have a very strong position. So I think, and it's because we don't know about it. Like, do you have books? Yes, you do, but not about crypto art. Do you have, or few? I believe Jason Bailey like wrote one, and it's great, but like you need more. Like, do you have interviews to these artists? Yes. Now MoCDA started to do it. I mean, but this is all new, and it
So do you
wasn't even
think
there
it's
when.
it's because of the content was missing, that didn't really take off within the art world.
Of course, because if you are, and if you keep staying in, as I call it, like nerdland, and like on the computer, and no one knows about you, which doesn't mean that you have to bring yourself to become like, you know, commercial um, like, you know, necessarily being part of what the art market is. But still, you need to tell stories, you need to present your work, you need to interface the artwork. You cannot pretend that they don't exist. What I always say is that we have two choices. The first is that we can just wait for them to die, all of them, but these people are young, so it's not gonna happen soon. Like, do you want to wait for all these people to die and then you're just gonna talk to the next generation? Because this would work, but you're alive now, so eventually you are in a like transitory time. It's like you probably need to create some bridges. Otherwise it's like you're gonna die too and you didn't reach your goal. So I think that we are in a transitory time, which I'm not even sure um, about the meaning anymore, because earlier I thought that we were transitioning from physical to digital. Now I just think that we are transitioning, I don't know to where, because probably we will never abandon the physical component of art and of anything, since I mean, maybe this quarantine was like somehow useful to think about these things, but then eventually you realize that we are just a container for our souls. So we are very much physical, and I don't think that based on our very own nature, like of the human nature, I don't think that it will ever be possible to abandon completely the physical pleasure, physical like need of contact, and so far. And so so these were the difficulties of coming into the digital art world and be a curator. Like, okay, how, if you don't want to be curated, it's a problem. But then things have been changing, and now you have artists who want to be curated, who want for their stories to be told and to, you know, like just present it to the public and to the audience. But I think that it's important from us to create new systems. In this, I agree. I mean, they are right. You cannot, as well, it's the same thing. You cannot like talk to the old world speaking language that probably become understandable in 100 years. And you cannot speak to this artist with the old language. It just doesn't work. So it's a very hard job to find a way to combine the two things. And I think that I really believe in a more sustainable economy structure for the art market. For that, I agree. So the effort needs to come from artists and from galleries. But I think that eventually we are, I don't know, I'm very hopeful for that. I mean, eventually we'll get there.
There's a few questions that were asked, and I'm going to address them now. But I wanted to sort of summarize perhaps what you just said now by saying that it sounds like these new digital art movement, which it is a new because it's been around since the late 50s and from the 60s and so forth. It needs to stay niche in a way, but accessible. So we need to be able to hear these stories. But in a way, I think it is also important to keep the attention on what is really of value, because I think what we've been seeing is that there's a lot of noise out there. A lot of people start creating or using apps and then uploading work on the blockchain. So I think, you know, when the movement first started, there were very few people, and it was easy to identify the very valuable projects. Whether now I think there's a lot of confusion, hence why having a curator or somebody that can help you making that journey a little easier and more comprehensible, it can enhance the experience of the viewer and also support the experience of a collector. or somebody that wants to be a patron and support art and the artist in a more traditional way?
Yeah, I think that it's the same in contemporary, like, I don't know, traditional, whatever you want to call it, like contemporary art. There is so much valuable art. I mean, everyone makes contemporary art, and the good artists are so few. It's the same. So to me, it's just that they need to be treated the same way of any other. Also, like, going back to the fact that art is art, and if we are forced to call it digital art because for now we don't own a position into the MoMA museum, and so we have to like distinguish ourselves for something. Okay, digital art, but it needs to be treated as any other kind of art. This is why I always insist so much of like, you know, like caring about the content and talking about the art, because I'm a little bit fed up of the presentation of these digital artworks where everyone constantly talks about how the artwork was made, which I understand. Like, I am completely I agree completely with the fact that people should be educated, because we are very educated to see painting because we grew up like surrounded by paintings. So I agree that we can explain code, we can explain like interaction between human beings and AI, which is more machine learning. I agree that we have to educate, but then at a certain point when you present an art piece to me, I just want to talk about the art piece. I don't want to talk about the means anymore, because as I always say, we don't talk about brushes when we present painting. So education, yes, but just treat the movement the same way that all these other movements are treated. Otherwise, we will never get anywhere.
Totally with you on that. I don't know if you can see the questions and comments.
No, I can't, because it kind of like stopped, so I cannot see the connected people. I can't see anything.
Okay, well, I'll read them out for you.
Okay.
So Georg is asking, were you involved in the AI's PRCLS token project?
No. What project?
AI PRCLS token project.
No, I wasn't.
Okay. Then
what I have done with AI in December, I organized a panel in New York, Manhattan.
Which is what I'm currently showing here in the background.
Yeah, it was at Rise, New York, and there is a professor who's also my blockchain professor in New York, and he now started to teach artificial intelligence from a more technical point of view. And so he gave me this possibility of organizing an artificial intelligence panel, which was amazing. So David Young was there, Dada, Travis Leroy Southworth, and then Fanny was presenting a few artists from MoCDA. And so it was like a beautiful panel just about art, like art and machine learning.
Eleonora, the project that Georg was talking about is the Ai Weiwei project for the token.
Oh, the project that he did with Kevin Bosch?
I suppose.
No, I wasn't involved because I wasn't at the studio anymore. Yeah, so I met him like a couple of months ago, and he talked to me about this project that he did with Kevin Bosch. That was more conceptual art project. No, I wasn't, unfortunately.
Okay. Then just sharing a few more comments and questions. So we had Darcy saying it's good to have a curator with an art background expanding into digital art. And then Token Angel asking, how is to work with Akatao? And then when do you think Chinese collectors will enter crypto art? And then there's also another question related to that. Are there any Chinese crypto artists around? So how is it working with Akatao? And are there artists or collectors in China interested in the crypto art space?
Okay, I'm going to answer the China first. So I'm not 100% informed about this. I know that there are, but I know that the relationship in China with crypto is very, so I believe, like, I know that Bitcoin is illegal in China, although the 50% of Bitcoins are owned by Chinese people, meaning that if they will ever reach the 51%, it will become like the currency of the state, and Bitcoin will be over. This is like a huge risk for Bitcoin. So I know that they have Bitcoin, and like so many miners live in Inner Mongolia and Mongolia, so the relationship with crypto is very strong, but they don't talk about it because it's forbidden. This is what I know. So crypto art, I will have to do a research now that I have more time, because I was in New York, and in that city you just cannot concentrate on so many things. So I really want to like go back to China and explore this. All the artists that I know from China, they don't know about the blockchain and about this crypto art thing. But I'm sure that there are someone, especially in Hong Kong, which is not China. So I will have to do deeper research, because everything, when it comes to China, everything is always very like dual. It's like it's always hidden because they're not allowed to talk about it. But I'm sure that if I go on Weibo, and these people who are genius, they're like, you know, they find escamotage to talk about things that they cannot talk about. So I am sure that they have, but I don't know. I'm not too much informed about that.
And in terms of collectors,
of course, there are collectors. We have to reach them. For that, I will have to do this. So this is what I'm trying to do with my gallery. You know, like reach collectors that I know, and present the works to them, like talk them through and explain. This is what we were talking about earlier. Like the collectors they're talking about, they will come to us, but we have to go to them first. That's my idea. Collectors like you know, whales, or like crypto collectors, I don't know. Blockchain in China, it's always weird. I will have to talk with people who are there.
I see. And tell us, because I know I'm mindful about the time and we've got about 15 minutes left. I was curious to know then to discover more about you as a gallerist and your relationship with the artists, because I know you're currently pulling together a show into CryptoBox, so for crypto Italian artists, and also collaborating with Akatao on multiple projects. And yeah, how is that going?
So the gallery's hater, open a gallery. So well, but I believe that you do that when you wanna bring some change. So I started this adventure of having a gallery because we don't have any other name for that. What I am trying to do is to bridge the contemporary art world and the crypto and digital world. And briefly, it means that I want to organize art shows, like for real, like physical art shows in physical spaces presenting the digital art, because I think that it's fundamental and necessary to bring value, not only monetary value, but like you know, like meaning, like content value, and also monetary value to the digital art. So I've already participated at to CADAF, which, as everyone knows, is this amazing fair and project that I am the #1 supporter. Like, I love them, always supported them from day one. I think Elena and all the team are doing like an amazing job. They you know, it's the only fair that really take us to earth, gives us the possibility of showing digital art. And they do it in a great way because they're coming from the art world, but they care about all these other world. And so they're doing exactly what I want to do with the gallery. They're doing it with the fair. So I was in Manhattan in May 2019, and I was in Miami. Serena, you were there as well with the museum. Kadaf Miami, December 2019, when we could still go around and hug and eat together. And so yes, so I've already participated to this, and what I want to do now, besides like participating in art fairs, I want to do art shows. So I organized this art show in Rome, which unfortunately was postponed. It was supposed to happen on the 16th of May, but because of COVID, it's not possible anymore. So I will eventually launch the show during the next Kadaf, which will happen in June 2020. So the show name is Renaissance 2020 because I think that it is what it will be after this wartime or after this Middle Age time. And so what I thought for Rome, and what it's the main idea for also the future shows, is that I want to interface the audience and art people and regular and people. So arty people and people, everyone is regular, I believe, and people like using a language that they can understand, and even tricking them. It's like, okay, I want to organize a show in Rome. Where can I possibly do a show in Rome? In a church, in somewhere
Of course.
secret, right?
I don't know how many churches are in Rome, but there's nothing but our church in Rome.
Yes. And so I was looking for something like either like an ex-church or a current church, and like a sacred place. Mm-hmm. First of all, like, without kidding now, because of the meaning and the curatorial concept, I think that it makes a lot of sense to present digital art in a sacred space, or what it used to be a sacred space. But also because, like, if you think about Italian people, for instance, it is something that they really understand. It's an aesthetic that they understand. So they go to this cloister where I wanted to have the show, and like they like it because it's something they're used to. It's art that they understand, and then you put inside the digital art, and so it's like their mind and their heart is already open enough to welcome this new aesthetic, new like way of collecting art. So I also organized a conference, new structures and new everything. So I think, like, you speak about the new using the old language so people can understand. So yes, this is what I want to do in my gallery. And so like also like tracing a path where there's not too much distinction between digital and physical. I'm going to present and support digital art. It won't be physical art, but I'm very happy when there is an integration, the same artist, when there is an integration, which is not a translation, not prints of digital pieces, integration, which is different. So Hakatao is one of the artists that I'm going to present. It's an artist duo that I got to know them very well when I interviewed them for MoCDA, for the museum.
Yeah, I remember we did an in the studio with them.
Yes. And then you did limited edition for Hakatao that we presented in Miami. So I got to know them very well in these occasions, and then we started sort of collaboration, which I think should be, like, it should be like this between curators and artists. Curators shouldn't abandon artists. I shouldn't curate artists just for one project, but it should be a pact that they do together. So with Hakatao is growing. So I interviewed them, and then they needed someone to curate some art pieces, and I wrote some text from them. And now, since they are artists, so they're not very good at talking about their art because they make their art. And so they asked me to be their spokesperson for like podcasts and interviews. And I think that it's amazing. I wish I could do this with all the artists, because it's really like they give me a lot because they give me the art, and I just give, you know, like a voice or anything. It's like I believe, yeah, I like to call myself a translator.
This is actually something very important that Gerb mentioned yesterday around a question that was asked: if a curator sort of makes the fortune of an artist, and in a way, you know, building that relationship and following it through on different projects, you know, it really makes you grow as a curator, but of course as an artist as well, and to communicate that with the audience. I am mindful of the time. We only have a few minutes left, but there's a few people here, because I know you are not able to see the comments, that are interested about the exhibitions you are putting together. So they're asking a few more technical questions. So I would suggest they get in touch directly with you. They are essentially asking about how to take part, and if this is a commercial show, and if it gets supported. So I think for all these questions, they can maybe address them to you. Also, you had a couple of requests for reserving the Red Pepe book.
Yes,
so make sure to keep a few copies aside.
Yes.
And then, yes, I just wanted for you to spend a very few words about the project you're doing about bringing together crypto Italian artists in the very first ever show made for Italian crypto artists, and how is that going?
Yeah, so there is gonna be ETH Turin, so in Torino, the hackathon, and so me and Hackatao are organizing this art show on crypto voxels that now everyone knows what it is, because everyone is on crypto voxels, which is amazing. It's great. It's the whole community is now there. I know the Rare AF3 is going to happen there as well. I tried crypto voxels, which is great. I was a little bit it took 5 minutes for me not to go against the wall, and I got lost on the roof. But
I still get dizzy, so don't worry.
Eventually there were some drinks on the roof, so I was like texting Akatao like, how can I calm down, because I'm not a big video gamer. But it's amazing. I mean, you can even buy your own space and gallery, and what is amazing is that you are in this video game, but you can actually click on art pieces, and like you can even read captions for art pieces and text, and you can buy them because this virtual space exists on the blockchain of Ethereum, I believe. And so like it's connected, and so you click and you can buy it. It's a real art show. So we're doing this just for the community. It's not a commercial show. So it's going to be a sort of like retrospective, or I call it, to me, it's more like to make the, it's just like to see where crypto art is in Italy. It's like the status of crypto art in Italy. And so we just put out this open call for Italian artists to participate. I'm just gonna anticipate that we have a very special guest, Kaisha artist. It's a duo. It's two sisters of 9 and 5 years old. It's my favorite. This I can say, my favorite artist, special guest. And then we have, of course, like Hakatao.
These are the youngest ever artists
ever. And the art pieces are so cool. Remember in Akatao's interview, Picasso, like it took me, I don't remember how many years to paint like Raffaello, and like a lifetime to paint like a kid. He said something like this, and I believe that it's true. So the pieces are amazing. And so Hakatao is designing the space on crypto voxels, the gallery, which was amazing. Like, do you want it like, Renaissance style, industrial style? I was like, industrial. And after 10 minutes, he was there like building and designing the whole thing. And I'm going to select the pieces that we have for now 17 artists who applied. And so we're going to select the pieces and just present the pieces with maybe a little paper, research paper of about how is the situation in Italy. And this is going to happen from the 24th to the 26th of April.
Fantastic. So that's really soon. Make sure to share the link with us, and we'd love to come and see the show in CryptoVoxel.
Of course. I'll see you in CryptoVoxel.
All right. Thank you, Eleonora. I know the time has come now to say goodbye, but I just wanted to deeply thank you, you know, as a friend and also as a colleague of yours, from all the great knowledge you shared with us. So yes, for anyone interested in Paper the Book and the exhibition that Eleonora is putting together, please do reach out to her. I'm sure the conversation can carry on.
Of course, yeah, please text me.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening and take care. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you everyone for joining.